Good evening. Really? We did this before. You don't get used to me, do you? Are you having a good KotlinConf? Yeah! Awesome. Glad you're enjoying it. And it's been a very long day. We've got a whole day tomorrow as well. I'm glad you're all staying for the special announcement. And afterwards, of course, there's a party. But to give you the special announcement, it's not going to be me. They don't actually let me speak at these things. So I want to introduce our CEO, Max Shafirov. And by the way, if you don't know, there's something Max that's also known for. He created the issue that's been around for the longest time that's open with the maximum number of votes. And the sad part of it is he actually created it himself. So,
thank you, Hardy. It turns out that having reference to your truck issues is a trend of today. And I couldn't have hoped for a better introduction. Jokes aside, I'm going to be talking about collaboration today, but from a somewhat different angle. But before we begin, let me start with a tiny bit of JetBrains background for those who do not know. So for those who do not know this story, JetBrains was founded nearly 20 years ago by these three wonderful people, developers that they decided to solve the task that they had. They created a product that helped them to refactor some code. The photo is actually of them receiving their first money from the tool. 20 years later, and with over 20 products, one of the core things that remains with us at JetBrains is that we are very conscious about the challenges that we have. These challenges inspire us to solve them, and this has happened many times, whether with IntelliJ IDEA, ReSharper, TeamCity, UTruck, and of course Kotlin. By creating these tools, not only we're trying to solve our issues, our own issues, but also trying to help others, help you. As the company has grown from 3 developers to over 1,200 people, we've come to face many challenges specifically around collaboration, about communication, about working together. Because we all know that software development is not just about developers, it involves different people, different roles, different tools, teams, and processes, and even different cultures. Now, we are all about choosing the best tool for the job, right? These tools, they cover every aspect of this ever-growing and more complex, incredible machine of software development that converts our imagination to reality. And these tools are great, but having to use them all together can be problematic because we have tiny bits of information everywhere. We set up countless notifications to stay on top of a bigger picture, but get bogged down with the details. And as we grow, more and more we experience that the ultimate goal of the transparency and awareness in a company results in information overflow. And what people end up hearing is just noise. And we are not all technical in the company. I mean, at JetBrains, we started with 3 developers, and now somewhat about 60% of people are being technical. But the fact is, remaining 40% of the people also need to collaborate, also need to communicate, and also deserve some of the efficiencies that we have in our tools. So we realized these issues that we have in JetBrains and decided to create a tool that not only good at solving tasks at hand, but also allows people to collaborate and doesn't create a silos. So today I'm really excited and proud to announce Space. Thank you. So Space is an integrated team environment that provides teams and individuals with all the tools necessary to create and to collaborate efficiently. And first of all, Space does cover a full software development process. It starts with top-level planning and goes into breaking the picture into an actionable list of items that needs to be done. It adds all the features that developers have come to expect, like Git hosting with code reviews and merge requests, and automation built on Kotlin scripts and using containers, allowing for continuous integration and deployment, and also support for package registry, including Docker images and Maven packages and other. But not only Space covers software development process, in fact, it is focused around teams and overall organization. It provides information such as team directory and features such as chat, meetings, calendar, blogs, even vacation tracking, and many other features which is not necessarily directly related to a software development, but related to a people taking part. And it's people who build software. So being aware of your team, how your team is structured, is important, whether you need to manage permissions or not to fall into the trap of assigning a code review to someone who is going to be on vacation for the next couple of weeks. Or you want to write a blog post and dedicate that to a particular team or whole organization. Or you need to create a meeting and send invitations to all of the team members. The concept of the team is inherent for Space through and through, whatever it is you are doing. So ultimately, Space is not just a bunch of tools combined. Like we believe that IDE is not a bunch of plugins, Space is not just a bunch of tools. Space is an integrated team environment that understands connection between each different part. But enough talking, let me welcome Martin on stage to show you a demo.
Thank you, Max. Hey, everyone. Let's imagine that I'm new at Galactic Travels and I was just invited to Space. When I launch Space, I can see the home screen and I can see what my day will look like. My meetings are on there, my vacation plans as well. And I can also see the teams and projects that I work on. There's also the blog and events that we can see as well. Now, let's start and go to one of the projects that we have here. Right, thanks. Amateur, like I said, new employee at Galactic Travels. Anyway, I'll show you this one again. So we have the home screen there with the day-to-day things that we have, as well as the upcoming vacation plans, team meetings, the teams that I work on, projects, and so on. And there's also the blog, but I'll cover that one in a little bit. Let's go to one of the projects, and we can immediately see what the project is all about. There's a description of the project, as well as the people who are working together on this project. There's code reviews, there's issues, there's repositories, as well as checklists. And I know this looks a little bit like it is very developer-focused, and for this project it is, but it doesn't have to be. The projects are really about bringing people together around a certain project. And for example, the mechanics in Galactic Travels, they also make use of these projects to track regular maintenance as well as repairs to the spacecraft we have. So if we have a spacecraft that has a broken taillight, they'll log an issue there and fix it in that project. Now, I was hired as a developer, so let's look at one of the repositories that we have here. In the repositories, we see the list of commits. We can look at the branches as well. We can search through our codes. And there's a separate entry for the README. So if we look at the README, we can make it very easy to our developers in the team to look at how they can set up their project, how they can set up their local machine, and get started immediately working on this thing. Let's look at the files here. And you will get a tree of everything that is in the repository. We can go through the files. We can look at whatever is in there. We can see the code. We can annotate. We can see the entire history of that thing as well. Now, we wouldn't be JetBrains if we wouldn't make it easy to find things that are in there. And we have a go-to-anything feature that allows you to search in projects, through people, through teams that we have there, as well as blog posts, chats, and so on. And if you're in the context of a repository here, you can actually search for files as well. So if we search for cache control, we will find that file and we can navigate there as well. Again, we see the sources here. We can edit them from the browser, we can annotate, and so on. But what's also really nice here is that people can add comments to it from Space. So if someone writes a class and they want to invite people to comment on it, not a formal code review, but just passing around some ideas, they can do so by adding a comment there, and I can also reply from here and add a reply. Now, I'll cover that in a little bit, but keep in mind, everywhere you can write a comment on something is also an opportunity to start a very focused chat around a certain topic. So if I would reply here, Christiana would see a chat open around this specific line of code that is in the project. But hey, we've browsed enough of the code. Let's look at some actual issue that we can work on. So we have issues in there. And I think for my first day, implementing HTTP3 seems feasible, right? I mean, it's a small job, so I can do this. So let's go in there, look at the details, and we can see the entire history. We see that Hadi started it, Hadi then moved it back to in progress and then back to open. So it's really one that I can start working on. So what I will do is self-assign this one to me. Where am I? Yeah, there I am. And set this one to in progress. Now, I can start working on this, but honestly, I have no idea where to start working on the HTTP subsystem of this project. So in every project in space, we have a list of responsibilities. And again, we can find Hadi's alter ego in there, which is not super important. But we have the HTTP stack, which is built or managed by Lucille and Christiana. So we can find the people who own the subsystem in the project. We can even click on them and look at what they are doing. So Lucille, she is on vacation right now, so probably I don't want to disturb her and ask how she, or if she can explain something about the HTTP stack. Ideally, maybe Christiana could help me. And yes, her agenda is empty, so I can jump to her profile and start chatting with her and say, hey, mind walking me through the HTTP code? Christiana, on her end, she's using the Space app, which, by the way, works cross-platform, so Windows, Linux, Mac OS X, and there's a mobile version as well. And she will see a new chat appear, and she will see my message there asking to walk me through the HTTP code. And she'll reply and say, sure, let's do so over coffee. And I think, okay, that's fine. Okay, I'll be there. And I can go on forever, but I'll be there. I'll meet her for coffee, but I have no idea where she's located in the office. I really have no idea. We're Galactic Travels. We operate from multiple planets and so on. I have no idea where she's located. Luckily, we also have a plan in there. And if we show the plan from her profile, we see the floor plan of where she is seated, and she's seated in the open space here. And I can find her there and walk up to her and have that coffee and walk through that HTTP stack that we have in the code base. Now let's fast forward a little bit. We've had that coffee. I have the information about how I can work with this code base, and let's start working on this thing. By the way, you can pin projects to the left sidebar there as well, and you can immediately go to repository. We find the URL to clone. You can use any Git client to clone this project and start working on it. But if you're making use of IntelliJ IDEA or any of the other JetBrains IDEs, we have a space integration as well where you can simply see all of the projects that you can clone and start working on. Now, in the interest of the demo, I already cloned this one before. I have a new branch, KotlinConf, and I will just start coding. So I'll search for my chat application. There we go, and make some changes. I don't think we need default headers. Logging, who needs logging? And I mean, pinging over WebSockets, I mean, everyone is connected all the time. It's probably fine to do it in 10 minutes. So let's do that. And let's commit this code as well. So we can say, whoops. We can say I fixed the HTTP issue in the chat application. I'm fine with to-dos and code analysis. Let's just commit and push. Right, there we go. Back in space, I can now see that new revisions are available, and I can reload, and I can immediately see the code that I wrote, and I can look at the change set, dive in, see whatever is happening, and I can also see my new branch appear here as well. Now, eventually, I would like this change to appear on the master branch that we have. So what I will do is create a merge request. There we go. I'll call this one awesome HTTP. Sounds good. And I'll assign Christiana to it, because she walked me through it, and she's probably the best person to evaluate whether that 10-minute WebSocket ping was a good thing or not. Now, a code review is not instantaneous, so I can continue working, do other stuff that I have in there as well. So let's go to the home page. Meanwhile, Christiana, she gets, again, a notification. Remember when I told you that a lot of things in space will open a very focused chat with the people who are involved with something? Well, in this case, the code review is something that Christiana is involved in, so she will see this in the chat. And she can immediately say, OK, I'll look at it and start looking at it. And doing so is, of course, very difficult from a chat, because it's very hard to show all of the code in there. So I will go to the code review and see whatever has changed there. And again, here I will say 10 minutes is probably too much. Maybe make that 2. All right, there we go. And just for sake of the demo, she will also accept this code review, and yeah, it's good to go and ship. Meanwhile, on my side, I was doing something else in Space. And again, that code review received a comment. So in my chat, I get a notification that the code review got a comment that said, OK, we'll look at it. But also the snippet that was commented on is in there, and I can immediately reply on this one and actually get a nice thread that I can use to talk about the specific change that we had there. But since the code review was accepted, I will go to the actual code review, merge it, delete the branch that I just created, and merge it to master. Awesome. Code is now on master, and if we go to the automation tab here, we will see that a build process has kicked off. So we have builds in there, the tests will run, and eventually when these complete, they will all publish some Maven packages to the built-in registry that we have there as well. So currently we support Docker as well as Maven, and NuGet and NPM are coming at a later point in time. Right. Meanwhile, Christiana is thinking, OK, this Martin guy, he's new on the team. There's a couple of other new hires that we have, so maybe we should do a meet and greet with the team and just create a new meeting that we want to plan with everyone who is on the team. So let's call this one team meeting. And you will see that, of course, I can select the date, I can select the time where I want to have this meeting, and I can, of course, also add participants. By default, we will show all of the teams that you are participating in, but we can, of course, also search for people. So if we search for Max, for example, we'll find him there, and we can add him to this list of participants. Now, if we add a team, everyone in a team will be immediately added, and everyone who was already added as an individual is just grouped into that team here as well. And when we add the entire team, we will also take into account who is actually available or not, and you can see based on the color whether that time slot is available for everyone on the team or not. So let's have this team meeting, maybe during the party later tonight. Seems like a good place to have a team meeting. Now, I added the software development team, but you also see that by adding that entire team, the bottom side here has all of the locations there. Again, we operate on multiple planets in galactic travels, and I have no idea what the office layout looks like and where the meeting rooms are located. And Space adds those for me based on availability, as well as the location in the office that is near where everyone is located. So I can now book this meeting, and we can have a team meeting. Right. Meanwhile, on my side, I feel like I've done so many things. I've done one commit and messed up a lot of code. I'm done for the day. I'll just see what's new in the company. And I can look at the blog items here and see that we have just opened a new Mars office, which is kind of awesome. Those blog posts, by the way, you can target them to the entire company, but very often it may make more sense to target them to a specific team or a specific location, which means if you have something that you want to share with the marketing team or something that you want to share with sales team or some software development team that you have, you can target that post to just that team without bothering everyone else in the company. Blog posts can also have events attached to them. So this one has an event attached to it, and I can go to this time travel proof of concept demo that is happening at the end of this year, and I can RSVP from here. And again, we can add comments there as well, and I can say, this looks very nice. And this also, again, will open up a chat with everyone who has previously commented on this one, as well as the original authors of this one. So if we look at Christiana's screen, you will see that the comment that I just added is there in the chats. And we can look at the comment that I've just added there. So that's a very quick introduction to Space. My day is finished. I think the day was fantastic, and I will just enjoy the fact that I get to work in Space. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Martin. Yeah. That was a really great demo. Obviously, we've been using Space at JetBrains for quite a while already, and it does improve overall communication and transparency in the company. But also, it reduces the burden on our team because it provides teams with as much autonomy as possible. We've made Space very much self-service. With a simple interface, one can create a new project, have all the different functionality that Martin has been showing just now, and grow as needed. Space is also built with extensibility in mind. It provides everything you'd expect these days in terms of the extensibility, like HTTP APIs and webhooks. But there is also a possibility for full-blown plugins, and Kotlin-based automation DSL. With all the information that Space provides and accumulates about the organization, people, teams, projects, and processes, it's a great opportunity for everyone to build on top of it, to provide even more value. That's why we are looking forward to be working with plugin vendors, as well as companies providing integration services to large organizations, and to facilitate discoverability. We will be providing a marketplace, just like we do now for IntelliJ in our other tools. And this is, this is just the beginning. We are starting off with a whole bunch of great functionality, and we have many more things planned for Space going forward. It's worth mentioning that Space is now offered as a cloud solution, completely managed by JetBrains, and we will also be providing a self-hosted option in the near future. Speaking of the cloud offering, we will be providing multiple tiers, including fully functional free tier, which is going to be suitable for smaller teams. Paid offering starts at $8 a month per active user, quite a good price for all the functionality that you've seen. Way up to an enterprise tier, which includes features demanded by the largest organizations, and that one even includes JetBrains all product pack license for each developer. So we are starting free, limited, early access program for Space today. People watching us online may request their invites from JetBrains website, subject to approval on first-come, first-served basis, so hurry. As KotlinConf attained this, you will be receiving a pre-approved invite for Space in your inbox tomorrow morning, so you do not have to hurry. Thank you. Much like all of our early access programs, Space EAP is all about listening to your feedback very carefully, because that's what helps us to shape up the product. If you want to learn more about Space and what we have planned, to see the demos, to play with it, please make sure you stand by JetBrains booth tomorrow. We're going to have a dedicated area for that. And last but not least, Space is built in pure Kotlin. Server, web, mobile clients, IDE plugin is all written in Kotlin. It even uses Kotlin for automation scripts. This consolidates our commitment to Kotlin multi-platform technology. If you want to learn more about architecture Space and know all the technical details, you may wish to visit a talk by Maxim Mazin tomorrow at 2 p.m. And this is it for me today. Thank you so much. And also thank you to the great team at JetBrains. You are wonderful people. It's a great pleasure to be working with you. Thank you. And thank you.